Well, hello there. It is Tonya Poole, and I am here. It's been a minute since I've done any sort of pick a card. I've been on like some graduation shenanigans here lately, if you've been paying attention. My daughter graduated from high school, and just working on some other things that I've kind of not been here to do this. So before I get started, I want to remind you that I have my June appointments open and ready. Those of you who are interested in a general question or a mid-year reading. Also, if you're interested in a Magic of Me intuitive natal chart reading, which deals with your planets and all the planets in your chart, or a miniature Magic of Me, which I just created, which only includes your sun, moon, and rising. Click the link in my bio for that information. So for those of you on Instagram, head somewhere else. I'm gonna try to post it below to show you the rest of this this video. I probably should have done a live so that it could all be together, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, I just felt inspired in this moment to do a just a general reading for all of us. We are still in Gemini season. What's today? June 11th, I believe. So we are still in Gemini season. Shout out to all the Geminis out there. And you know my saying, you know, no matter when your birthday is, everybody's a Gemini, since that's the season we're in. Everybody's a Gemini, including you, because we're all being influenced and inspired and moved by this current Gemini energy. And Gemini, if you know anything about that sign, its symbol is the twin. So it's is usually, if you look at the symbols, two people. So it's kind of that dual energy that which we all have, the light and the dark, or the, you know, and not necessarily, I don't want to say good and bad, but just the changeable aspects of us, how we can nobody is one way basically all the time, you know. One minute we may like this, the next minute we may like that. One minute we may want to talk, because Geminis are known for their ability to talk and to communicate. And then the next minute we may want to be quiet, right? And so Gemini in our charts deals with how we communicate, you know, how we talk, how we express ourselves, how we share, how we, you know, if you communicate through your drawings, through artistic means, and that's your way of self-expression, then that's Gemini energy coming through you. If you are someone who just loves to talk, you know, that's Gemini energy coming through you. Gemini energy in all of us is also like that, kind of like a childlike energy that we all have, that can remind us not to take everything so seriously, right? But then on the other hand, because Gemini does have that dual energy, sometimes it reminds us that we need to take things seriously. So, you know, I know Gemini energy for a lot of people, if you're not a Gemini, can be kind of confusing. If you know Geminis, it's like you can never pinpoint exactly who they are. And that is the classic Gemini energy. I actually am a Virgo, meaning the sun was in the sign of Virgo when I was born, but the moon was in the sign of Gemini. So I'm a Virgo sun, but a Gemini moon. And so that having a Gemini moon means that my emotional self can sometimes be more like that of a Gemini, and that, you know, I can be very angry about something, and then I can just let it go in 5 minutes and just be like, I'm not even going to be bothered with that anymore, you know? Because Geminis tend to not, some of them tend to not hold on to anger or grudges for a long time. Like they get it all out and then they're all good, you know? That's just one way. It's not always like that, but that's just, you know, just one way that energy can show up. And so Gemini is somewhere in your chart. And so if you would like to receive If you would like to know where Gemini is for you and what that means for you, how Gemini energy manifests in your life, then I would highly encourage that you get the Magic of Me intuitive natal chart reading, where I look at where not only your sun sign, you know, because you might be a Scorpio or a Sagittarius, you probably already know that, right? But I will also look at where Gemini is for you in your own particular chart and what that means for you. Because again, like with me being a Virgo sun, having a Gemini moon, you know, impacts my Virgoisms. You know, if you were a Scorpio, right, and you had, let's say, your Venus, that planet of love, in the sign of Gemini, it might be hard to pin you down in a love relationship, right? You might seem so committed today and so bored and ready to move on tomorrow, right? And you might be wondering, like, why am I like this, you know? So that's something that we can discuss, something we can look at when you book a Magic of Me intuitive natal chart reading. I also have the miniature version, which I mentioned earlier in this video, the miniature version of the Magic of Me available now. Because I understand that for some people, getting a full chart is a lot of information to process. And so getting the miniature version of it, we just look at your sun, moon, and your rising sign. You know, that's what most people know about anyway, right? And so we look at your sun, moon, and rising sign, and how your sun, which is your personality, your ego self, the part of you that you display to the world, and your moon, your emotional self and your emotional fulfillment and your hidden subconscious mind and even your fears, right? And then your rising sign, which deals more with how you present yourself to the world, how those three things are working together to create who you are. And one of the things that I always tell my clients is that, you know, a lot of times we want to, you know, a lot of times we feel that we are at the effect of the universe, but we are actually a part of the universe. It's not our signs who determine who we are, but they're really just tools. You know, they're really just tools that we have been blessed to come into this world with, and we have been blessed to be given the opportunity to master those signs, master those energies, instead of being the victim of them, right? So never think that, you know, astrology or however your planets are set up is designed to limit you in any kind of way. So anyway, I didn't really mean to get on here and talk too much about astrology. I really just wanted to do a quick reading, just because I felt like doing it. With it being Gemini season, and I haven't filmed any of the seasonal alchemy for, I missed Taurus season, and I didn't film one for Gemini, so I just wanted to kind of touch base with you all and you know, do this quick little reading here. So thank you so much for your love and your patience. And if you click the link in this description, wherever it is, below or above this post, you can book any reading with me now. Magic of Me, 2019 mid-year reading, because we're about halfway through the year, so you want to kind of check in and see what's going on with you for the rest of the year. And then also, if you just have a general question about your life, you can book that type of reading as well. And then if you like what I do, I also have my PayPal, my Cash App links down there if you just want to leave a donation. I always accept love offerings. So anyway, so basically what I'm looking at right now is, what information do we all most need to know and have or do or be aware of in this Gemini season, in this season of self-expression and communication and duality? You know, what do we all most need to know, do, or be aware of during this time, no matter what sign we are, no matter if we're a Scorpio or a Capricorn or a Taurus or whatever? We are in Gemini season, so what do we need to know right now in Gemini season so that we are staying empowered in our self-expression, in our communication? How must we communicate? How can we stay empowered in our communication? All right, I picked 3 cards, y'all. Wow. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to look at this for a second. Yeah. Wow. So the first card that came out is the Justice card. Justice, I love the Justice card. The Justice card, whenever we see justice, justice does not play, right? Justice is all about fairness. Try to put this up here. You see she's holding the scales for balance. She's got the sword in her hand. Justice is all about fairness and balance and equality and being just. So our words, since we're in Gemini season, the time of communication, our words need to be fair. Our words need to be balanced. We need to understand that the words that we speak, for every word that's spoken, an action comes from that, right? For every thought, because not only we don't only communicate with our words, we also communicate with our thoughts. There's so many different forms of communication, even body language, right? And so justice, the Justice card is reminding us, it's not so much in a harsh way, but to remind us that for every thought, every word, every body language, every form of communication that we put out, that there is a reaction to that there's something to be received from that. And so, and also what I'm feeling is that to not look at that from a fearful place, but more so to see it, to realize your own power. Because many of us just let all types of words fly. We say all types of things. And I'm not just saying like, curse words or anything like that. I'm saying like, we just say things that we have no meaning behind, or we don't really want to see manifest. And what Justice is saying is that you can't be, depending on your belief system, you can't be a son or daughter of God or of the Most High. You can't be a god or a goddess. You can't be, so empowered on one hand, and then on the flip side, not believe that your words have power, not believe that your thoughts have power, that the universe is just, and so we are encouraged during this Gemini season, during this time of communication, during this time, where the energy is really around, not only, because remember the Geminis, the twins, not only the part of us that people see, but the part of us that people don't see. Justice is saying that we are constantly bringing forth the things that we are saying out loud and the things that we are saying in our minds, right? And so we just want to be mindful of that. Really, is not really to be fearful of it, but to really understand that our words have power. And I want to remind you, as I tell all of my clients, really, because I always want to put people in the power seat, you have power over your own life. There's nothing bigger than you. There's nothing, God is working with you, you know what I mean? And through you. And so that's what Justice is saying here, is that, you have to remember your power when you speak your words, when you think your thoughts, when you, even give body language, like, whatever, I don't care, or body language, like, I'm so enthusiastic, whatever, remember that every piece of you, the universe is seeking to balance that aspect of yourself. The second card that came out is the Ace of Cups. And so the Ace of Cups a lot of times deals with feelings and emotions, which a lot of times we don't attribute to the sign of Gemini. Gemini is very is very logical sign, very, logical. It's a mental sign, it's an air sign, right? So to have this Ace of Cups, which is all water, all emotions, how the words that we speak, what types of emotions do they elicit? What type of emotions do they evoke? When we speak, are we really truly speaking from the heart? Heart chakra candle. which I will be having a giveaway sometime this week, so stay tuned. Anyway, so are our words coming from a heart space? You know, can our words actually open the hearts of others and help others to pour out from an emotional space? Because, you know, I think sometimes we forget, because we forget the power that we have. We forget the power that we have, right? I had someone tell me recently, and they were like, Tonya, you just don't understand. Like, I was kind of second guessing myself, and they were like, you don't understand the power that you're working with, or the power that you have. And I say that even now with humility. They were reminding me of certain gifts that I have that I haven't been using. And they were like, you know, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And I was like, you know, because I had forgotten that part of me. And so we tend to forget the parts of ourselves that are just as powerful, that are super powerful, that have the power to open up the hearts of others, that can move people through their emotions. A lot of times, especially on social media, we see so much is geared to move our emotions, but we don't really know what to do with that after our emotions are moved, right? We see a lot on social media that moves us to anger, that moves us to sadness, that moves us to want to, you know, to feel, basically, to feel in some kind of way. But do we know how to handle those emotions? So during Gemini season, we are being asked and encouraged to be mindful that our words and our thoughts create emotions, and we have to be responsible. We have to be responsible for how we are wanting others to feel. Ultimately, how others feel is on them, you know, but you know when you're saying something hurtful, right? You know when you really could be more loving. You know when you said something that was a little too harsh, and it could have, you know, if you had just said things a little differently, instead of having a floodgate of negative emotions, you could have had a floodgate of positive emotions, right? Sometimes even our words, and fair and balanced words can open up relationships, loving relationships that have been closed off for a period of time. You know, so basically your word is a sword, right? And when used in balance can create a harmonious emotional situation, even within yourself or with others. Or when used out of balance, can create a floodgate of emotions that that no one knows how to deal with. So our words are very much connected to our emotions, and we cannot lie to ourselves and think that it is not, right? And so lastly, I drew the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is a card of basically things always come into balance. The Wheel of Fortune, you never know how it's going to turn, right? If you watch the game, The Wheel of Fortune, you know that, you know, sometimes they turn that wheel and it lands on $250,000 or $3,000. And then sometimes they hit the bankrupt tab, or sometimes they hit the loser turn, right? So you just never know when you turn the wheel. How is the Wheel of Fortune turned for you? Based on your words, based on the emotions that you allow within yourself and those that you inspire in others, right? Do you create loving situations? Do you create hateful situations? You know, it's you who's turning the wheel of fortune for your life, for better or for worse. And so I know sometimes people are looking for, but tell me, is it all good or is it all bad? Is something good gonna happen? Is something bad gonna happen? Again, it all depends on you. That's what I'm getting from this reading. It all depends on you. It all depends on me. How we self-express during Gemini season. If we stay so bottled up in just our intellectual selves and we don't tap into the heart we don't tap into a true emotional space, then we can turn the wheel in a way that's not beneficial. But then again, if we use our words wisely, if we self-express wisely, then we can turn the wheel of fortune in our favor. And so I'm going to pull just one more card from another deck for Gemini season, for all of us. Again, no matter when your birthday is, we are all being impacted and inspired and influenced by the Gemini energy right now. So what else do we need to know or be aware of during this Gemini season, during this time of communication and self-expression? Yeah. All right. And we got the Fates. So I will read what that says. The Fates. Fate, karma, acceptance that there are things you cannot change, and knowing what those things are. The Serenity Prayer sums up the meaning of this card. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are things in life you will never have control over. The conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, by nature, and by your past experiences may be fated, preordained by spirit for a greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. It may not be in your cards to understand why certain events occurred, but you can accept the mystery and work with what those events and your current circumstances have to teach you. This is the wisdom contained in the Serenity Prayer. So, knowing the things that you cannot change, knowing that there are certain, sometimes that Wheel of Fortune falls. Sometimes we fall on some good luck, right? We just fall on good opportunity and we don't know why. Sometimes we fall on harder times and we can't pinpoint why. So there are, God grant me this serenity to know the things I can change and know the things I can't change, and to know the difference. The things that you can change are your words. The things that you can change are your own behaviors, how you self-express, right? Outside of that, leave it up to your higher source, God, the universe, however you define that, to help guide the way for you. All right. So that is what we have for Gemini season. This was just a general reading. If you would actually like a personalized reading, one that was way more detailed and specific to you, make sure you click the link that is in this post now and book either a general question reading or a 2019 mid-year check-in reading, because you really want to see what's going on for you for the remainder of the year. And then also, like I stated earlier, we have the Magic of Me Intuitive Natal Chart reading and the mini edition of the Magic of Me. And so you can click on that link and just all of the information is there. The descriptions of each reading is there. So thank you. And until we speak again, I am wishing you all so much peace and love.